I do not like Sculpey Souffle at all, period. Nope. But if I can mix Sculpey Medium in with the colored clays, I think I will have a lot more resiliency that I'm used to. It'll be a firmer clay, but also I'm hoping it'll keep the consistencies or the characteristics where it is bendable. We'll see. I don't really know what to expect. That's why it's an experiment. I know for at least what I'm working on here, it will do what I want it to do and be much more stable, which is good. Ooh, it's good time. Glad I popped in for a minute. Have a great stream. Okay, I'll probably be streaming a while today. I don't know how long I'll stream, but I'm hoping to get at least a 4-hour stream in today. I did notice that when I have my studio lights on, I need to switch from the LED lights because I think I'm having an issue with them. I was streaming yesterday, and after my stream, when everything settled down, I had a massive panic attack. My heart was racing, my head was dizzy, and I've noticed that I tend to have more issues when I am under my studio lights for longer amounts of time, so I'll probably be switching my LEDs as soon as I can afford to. And I think the issue that I'm having with them is the refresh rate on the bulbs. I can sense that. Some people do have photosensitivity, and I think I have slight photosensitivity. So I'm going to try changing my bulbs and see if that helps. It might also be that I'm using full spectrum lights, and I really shouldn't be. So we'll see. Time will tell what the answer is. I don't know if you're there or not still, John, but thank you for popping in. It's always good to see you and talk. Maruki and I will be working and lurking. What was the first clay that you used, Maruki? Was the first time that you worked with polymer clay with the Super Sculpies? My first time was with the colored clays, and I really liked it, but I could never afford to buy it and try it when I was younger. But I stayed into art, and then when I got into college, I picked up some Super Sculpey and tried it out and just absolutely fell in love with it. And I think back then it was just the pink Super Sculpey. They didn't have the medium ones. We would mix the firm and the regular together, and that was a lot of work. You do not miss those days. I'm busy making Christmas presents. First time was when we worked together. Okay, so you understand what I'm trying to describe about the different feelings between them. I do want to try my hand at caning. I might make a few test canes once I get one of my a journal cover or something sells. Once I get some more business income, then I can justify putting that back into reinvestments. But I have a kind of a stockpile of it, so I'm not wanting for anything right now. I could technically just make a cane and see what happens. Worst comes to it, I'll just mix in the clays together to the different colors and work with what I have. And none of it'll go to waste, no matter what color it is. After this journal cover, I'm definitely going to need to make a new batch of Dragonite pendants because I've been missing my easier projects that I can finish in one sitting. Well, I say finish in one sitting, but it takes multiple bakes, so not in one day per se. Though I could. Hmm. I'm working the clay towards the tip of the wings so that they will stand out a little bit more and hopefully have that slight curve to them that I'm looking for. But when I'm doing that, I have to angle it in such a way that it is lower so that the next layer of feathers stand out. So having those slight shifts in the planes creates enough of a difference between them to make them seem like separate parts rather than as they started out with one single piece of a single color. I find it a bit of a challenge to have that slope be smaller at the base of the wings, offset the next layer, but it creates such an elegant effect that it's definitely worthwhile taking the time to do the pieces in one piece and then etch them out, rather than, just putting the wings on there individually. It definitely keeps it more towards my style. I've seen several artists who will draw the wings like with one stick and then just feather, 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 feather. But I have a little wire bristle that I like to use to make my feather details. definitely does wobble around more. Makes it difficult to get in there sometimes. I'll press it on one side and it'll press out on the other because it's so soft. It's a tricky adjustment. It might work a little easier if I were to put it in the freezer for like 15 minutes and then work with it, because it is a little toasty here in front of all the lights. That could have some to do with why it is more malleable. Back pop. Yeah, I could try refrigerate it. It really just is such a pain to stop and wait for it to cool and then come back. I don't have multiple projects going right now and I don't want to swap in between them, so I'm just kind of putting up with it. And it's only really bad at the tips of the feathers where I'm trying to get them to fuse on with the black clay, so and just bear with it. I'll get past the part where it's a nuisance pretty quickly. If you could not trying to split from the part underneath, it's two separate parts stacked in the layers because each layer is its own thickness. Not wanting to do what I want it to do when I want it to do it. Might have to kind of make a wedge shape and yeah, I could when I'm not working on it, but I am trying to push through this really quick, so if I hadn't have had that mini stroke, I wouldn't be behind. I think creating this little wedge with two tools did the trick. Yeah, that did it. Alright. Now, let's try and figure out where. I think that wing should be about right there. So if I just come in and just wedge that in, start building the wing form out. Where was I? Ugh. My eyes are starting to blend in together now. Yikes. Ever had that happen when you're working on something super detailed and your eyes cross and you lose where you're at? Such a disorienting feeling. We're working on Vampire Hunter D. We started that last night, and I forgot just how old school it is. We just finished Trinity Blood, and I'm really grumpy with how it ended. I need to check and see if they did any more in that series. Stephen was mad that the lycanthrope that they had was basically a large wolf. They didn't really elaborate much on it. And that's his favorite. Mythological. Or at least one of his favorites. In other news, any updates on the cafe you love? Any luck with them finding another location? No, they haven't updated anything on location. Or if they have, they're keeping it to themselves until they sign the papers and make it official. I am leery about putting any of my stuff in any of the shops downtown now, because if they're doing that and they're surprising the landlords like that and not giving them much notice, I have issues with transportation and my health. So what happens if I can't get my stuff back from them in time? Then either they take it with them to the move or it gets lost in the move, and that's... With my health the way it is, any of my inventory is that much more valuable because I'm, it's a limited amount of spoons that I have every single day. I need to get in touch with the one shop who offered for me to put my stuff down there, who's not very... It's only 1 block away. It's the little metaphysical shop across the street from the cafe. I was wanting to put my stuff down there. We were talking about it, but they haven't messaged me back. I'm kind of leery that they might be facing a similar situation. I just won't go down there. And when the cafe moves, I'll look for wherever they move at, or if they move to a solo venue, I'll have to look at the places, because Pinellas Park is starting to develop more of an artist community. As downtown's cost goes up, more people are transferring over to the Pinellas Park area for their shops and for their galleries, for their stores. They're making that shift because of these rent spikes, because of these because of landlords not renewing their leases. And what that means is that this gentrification is just spreading throughout the town. I don't think that St. Pete's going to be viable for us much longer, and we were already looking to get out because it's just been too hot to live. I cannot do my varnishing very often. I have to work around, because with the varnish that I use and the sprays and stuff that I use, they won't cure properly unless they are under a set amount of humidity and within a heat range. And here in Florida, our humidity, anything under 50% is amazing. It is considered a good day. Most days it's like 70 or 80% humidity. So that's becoming an issue for me in the off season, because I have respiratory issues, so I can't spray in my house. If I were going to spray in my house, I would have to, well, if I still had the art studio, if I still have my studio in this room, I would have to take and put a ventilation system in the window. So my window would have to be open that way, which I would be hearing the noise from the neighbors, and they're arguing constantly, and I can't handle that. Triggers my anxiety, yelling. I won't get into that. If you know me, you know why. So I'm moving into our bedroom, and our bedroom's going to be our bedroom slash studio because we're going to rent this room out soon. And the problem with that is our bedroom window does not open. The screen in there's no screen in it, so the cats can get out easily, so I won't be able to set my ventilation up in there, and I'm not going to spray, period, in the same room that I'm sleeping in. So then that becomes another issue, is I can't do my spray during the hot seasons. Or my varnish during the hot seasons. So essentially I have November, if I'm lucky, through February, maybe March, that I can put out and make as much as I possibly can before I lose that window and it's too hot or too humid or both. I might have to come up with something. Even if that something is later on down the road called moving. So, I don't know. It's a lot to think about, and it's really stressful, and I try not to stress too much because that can trigger another seizure, or not seizure, but a stroke, mini stroke, TIA. National healthcare needs to happen so I can get medical care for that, but we won't go there too long. So that's why I'm just trying to dig in and work on what I can work on, which right now is working on my piece and catching up after being sick. Recovering for 2 weeks was a lot of time that I wasn't working, and then to have it break on me afterwards, just basically all of my work in December was do it again. Or not December. Or all of November was pretty much a redo. Now I have to do it in all December, which put me behind on your stuff. So I cannot express to you how immensely grateful I am for your patience and your patronage, because man, it's been one hell of a year. Still an air bubble. Problem is, I think it's an air bubble through that entire piece. And then I lose where I was at. Okay, there we go. See, the clay does have a different feel to it, with it being softer. I catch myself second guessing where there's an air bubble and where it's just the clay is soft. Whereas before, I could definitely tell when it was sliding around, because it would become much less stable when it never had that problem before. I think that's why I'm leaning more towards the Fimo Professional. If I were to rebuy my clays, I would probably just keep importing that. But being an import, I'm paying a premium to get it to America from Germany. So it's always going to be more expensive. This will be on sale, a block of a Fimo Professional, this stuff here from Staedtler. A block of that on sale is $11, whereas it's normally like $20 to $24. So it's something to consider. But the quality payoff is entirely worth it. I don't have to worry about my pieces breaking like they did. You definitely get what you pay for. And since I have been working primarily on my art now, I am learning a lot more about the medium that I didn't learn in my first 6 or 7 years of working on it just because I was, off and on working 2 jobs. Now I can actually sit down and focus on it. It's a completely different rate of learning. I look around and I've done more in this last year than I have basically in the entirety of my life as far as creativity stuff goes. But on the other side of that is financially, this has been one of the hardest years of my entire adult life. That being said, it is exciting. I am so close to breaking even on income and expenses. Or income versus expense. Not anywhere near in the green, but when I can get closer to it, I can actually register it as a business when I'm not in the loss period. That'll be cool. Because I'd love to shift it into my goals of having my tiny house and being able to go to the conventions. Getting my finances straightened out so that I can apply for business loans and RV loans to get my tiny house and open up my shop, because I do want to have my 3D scanner and 3D printer service going so that I can make my 3D printed dolls, which will be awesome because it'll lower the price point a lot. I won't be sculpting out my pieces. I'll just be spending my time coloring them. So it'll be a different shift. Not only that, but there are some particular types of resin that I was interested in that were heat resistant that I could possibly print in. Chemicals set, UV set. So it would be really cool if I could create a line of head bases for dolls so that people can make their own stuff, and so that I won't have to constantly be working with my armature wire, because armature wire sucks ass to try and bend into a hollow head that I work with. Not fun. My hand's pretty much dead afterwards. I mean, it's worth it because of how much strength it adds to the heads and how it attaches into the body, but all that wire bending. Random spots of black that appeared on my tool. Hi, how are you? Go away.